Hi guys, last time we did what is called the data definition language in its simplest form. We created a database and then we created a table. But this is SQL, structured query language, which is a relational database. In order for our database to be truly relational, tables need to be related to each other. So, what we're going to do in order to enforce that when we create our other tables, we are going to add what are called constraints to our table. So, what we will do is we will create a constraint where Lioness worker ID is a primary key, and we'll talk later when we create the other tables, we will explain exactly what a primary key is. But in essence, a primary key is a unique identifier. So every time we add a worker, that worker should have a unique ID. And then we'll add some other constraints to, for example, worker age. We want to make sure that the age of the worker is greater than 18. So we will add a constraint like that as well. All right. So let me open up another tab and then I do alter table and as workers add and then constraint and we'll call it, we can give our constraint names and as workers pk and add the primary key constraint and the column we want as our primary key is lioness, check here, right, lioness work ID, followed by a comma, followed by another constraint, and this time we will add a check constraint for age, so lioness worker age greater than 17 because we only want workers who are 18 or older. And let me see what other constraints I want to add. Unique. So let's suppose we want to make sure that every worker has a unique address. Then we do. Did I give that one a name? Nope. All right, I think I might. Oh, I need to repeat add. Yep, because we're adding more than one constraint. So, yep, so now our primary key, which is the unique ID for every row, will be lioness work ID. And then we added a constraint to make sure every worker is 18 or older. And then we also added a constraint to make sure every worker's address is unique. Now let's run this. Let's execute. Yep, it works. And I will do a check. This time I will try to add some workers to the database. So we need an insert statement. So I will do insert into and as workers, and because I will be inserting everything, I do not need to repeat the column names, but usually if you're not using all the column names, then you would have to, or you are inserting them in a different order than the way they are in the database, then you will need to include the column names. But now all I'm doing is the values. So I will do as the ID one, well, Williams, since it is last name, and then Ezra, and then 41, 123 ABC Lane. Right? And Ezra has been inserted into the database. And to verify that, I will refresh and simply click this. As you can see, Ezra has been inserted. Now let's try to insert someone else using the same ID. It should fail because the primary key needs to be unique. And I will do, as you can see, it fails. It says duplicate entry one. One is special here. Only Ezra can have the ID one. In order to insert Mava, I would need to put a different ID. And there it works. So that helps enforce our ID attribute. What if I try to create a user whose age is less than 18? See, we also have a fail. Check constraints, age is violated. Lioness age CK is violated. That means the user is not over 17. So therefore, they are not inserted. Now let's try it for the, even with a unique primary key. Let's try it for the address. We run it again. Violated. Okay, let's try it for different person, same address. And it fails. So even when I changed the primary key, it fails because I'm trying to add someone who is at the same address as Marva. So it fails. So let's try that. Let me put a valid age. 19. Oops. All right, so it says duplicate entry because Mava is already at 123 Mars Lane, so I can't add Creator there because the address should also be unique. So these constraints work, these constraints have been enforced.